Hello everyone, this is Arena International Master and FIDE instructor Rishikesh Chavan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have organized a thematic chess tournament for the students of our Gurukul Chess Academy. So today's theme is d4-d5. As you can see, right now there are 34 players who have already enrolled in this tournament, and in just few minutes the tournament will get started. There are more players likely to join, so I guess we will be having 40 plus players over here. So I'll be taking you through all the games. There are 6 rounds, and there are few international rated players also. They are participating in this event. We have organized many online chess tournaments for our students. Apart from the normal chess tournaments, we have also organized thematic chess tournaments. In fact, this is our second thematic chess tournament. Our first thematic chess tournament was based on Scotch game. So all the games were played in Scotch opening. I have analyzed all those games also. So I am giving you the link here so that you can refer to that video and you can enjoy the games. We are in the first round of this d4 d5 thematic chess tournament, so let's go through the games. So on the first board, Umgada is winning. He has two extra rooks plus few extra pawns. Let's check this game between Blade Strike and Inferno. Yeah, so Inferno, that is Yesh Sane is white and Tanish is black. So right now Yesh is having a free piece. He has one extra bishop, and at the same time he has managed to create a passer on d6, and mostly he will support that passer by something like c5, c5, bc5. Okay, so that was a good move from Tanish. So he stopped this c5 pawn push. So that way, if white pushes this pawn, then that pawn will be on his own. But still, uh, with this one extra bishop, it shouldn't be much difficult for white to convert this into a win. Let's move back. Okay, let's check this game. Okay, only 7 moves are done. Okay. So the material is equal. White has castled on the long side. I don't know why. Normally in d4 d5 we don't castle on the long side. So these kids, most of the kids, they are not used to play d4 d5. So they are mainly e4 players, and this is the reason behind organizing these thematic chess tournaments. So if they play few games, 6 to 7 games, serious games, in one opening, then they will get enough idea about what is happening in that opening. And of course we are going to analyze those games in their classes, in their training session, so that way they will get to learn more about such particular openings. So it looks like Siddhant is having some internet issue. That's why his timer is showing 1.28, whereas the other way is having full 9 minutes. Let's move back. Okay. Okay. The Aradhya Gavankar is white and Garvil is black. Again, Garvil is having extra rook and plus that passer on a file. So Garvil should win this game quite easily. Let's see if we can find some interesting games. Okay, this looks quite interesting. Material is kind of equal. Adya is having two extra pawns. Gayatri is playing against Adya Patil. Gayatri is white, Adya is black. And let's see what's happening. So, Adya managed to capture two extra pawns of Gayatri. And now she is thinking about capturing this pawn on a2. And then maybe there will be two passers. Now this rook looks bit weak. It is not connected with the rook. It is hanging. Also, this knight is not sitting on the best possible square. Knight should be on f6. From f6, he will be guarding all the important squares. Mm, Maybe he can play something like this. Rook b5 is also a strong move. Yeah, that was forced. Otherwise, rook b5 and then this bishop would be gone. but black can still play rook b2, putting the rook on the 7th rank. One more idea is that he can use rook lift, so he can play something like rook b5, and then right now he cannot move the rook anywhere on here f5 or h5. Okay, black should have played this over here. Okay, let's go back. Here, as you can see, black couldn't capture the bishop because her rook was under attack. So that is why she had to save the rook first. But whenever you are making any defensive move, make sure you are playing or you are doing active defense. Only defense is different, active defense is different. So again, with this move, rook b2 is out of the option. These two rooks look very strong on this open E and D file. So compared to white pieces, black pieces are quite passive, and as you can see, there is no coordination between the pieces. So it doesn't matter how much material you have. Make sure all your pieces they are working in some coordination. They are working as a team. There should be teamwork between your pieces. Let's go back. This game will take a lot of time. Mm, okay, let's check this game between Aryav and Adish. Aryav Karya is white against Adish Donde. He is black. Okay, Adish is pawn up. Let's see. Mm, he sacrificed the knight, or is there a trap coming up? As you can see, all white pieces are bunched up on this corner of the board, and on the other side of the board, there is no white piece. The king is alone. So only those three pawns are there to defend the king. Now this type of thinking is called theory of boxes. So there are different types of theories to learn chess concepts, chess fundamentals. So one of those theories is theory of boxes, where you try to evaluate the position by drawing these imaginary boxes over the board, so that you will come to know on what side you have better prospects. So your white black should try giving a quick checkmate. So something like knight f3. So knight into f3 is forced. Bishop into f3, and once bishop settles on this f3 square, black can play queen g4, h3, and then uh, queen g2 mate is possible. Or else, of course, he can play a long game. So right now, this move looks a better move in this position. Let's see if Adish finds this move or not. Is there anything else which we are missing? There are other moves also, something like bishop to a5, putting pressure on this knight. This is low on time, but we are having 10 plus 5 time control. So that way, players are getting 5 seconds increment after every move. So timing shouldn't be a problem. So it looks like either Adish is trying hard to find a plan, or he's just facing some internet issues. Let's move back in the main lobby. Still 4 games are going on. Let's check this game between Sean and Samiksha. Sean is white and Samiksha is black. So Samiksha is having lots of extra pieces, and Sean's king is also not well protected. It's in the open. So Samiksha should checkmate White's king quickly. She should have captured this pawn over here. So that way, king would be totally exposed. This is the only, or this is the last shelter white king has. Let's move back. Okay, let's focus on this game between Gayatri and Adya. Adya managed to capture that a2 pawn. So now she is 3 points, or 3 points ahead. But again, if you compare both the pieces, white's pieces look more coordinated, and black's pieces are sitting on the passive squares. So here the threat is queen g7, queen h2 check, but it won't be a checkmate. So before white plays this, before black plays queen h2, black should play something like rook e8, so that the king won't escape. After rook e8, then it will be a forced mate, queen h2 check, king f1, and then queen h1 mate. This is a very good move. Check, king up, she can give one more check, and then king will run away. Because black doesn't have a light square bishop, so black won't be able to attack these light squares. So that way, this will be a red carpet way for white to save its king. Okay. Black is not worrying much about the checkmate. Black just wants to grab as much material as she can. Maybe she's feeling the pinch of time control, time trouble. Here again, instead of this, of course, black is getting material, but queen into g2 check would be an interesting idea. Are we done with all the games? Let's go back and see. This is the only game left. No, two more games are still going on. Yeah, Samiksha should win now. Even Adi should win with his extra piece. Let's focus on this game. This is the only interesting game. Ouch, and now she should lose the queen, or maybe not. Rook d8 check, and then rook comes in the middle. Is there any trap coming up? Yeah, rook into rook, king into rook, and again rook d8 check, and now the queen is definitely lost. Ouch, Adya missed. Now she's not losing anything, but now Adya should be worried about this rook, or she will lose this rook. She should have captured this rook earlier. That's why move order is very important when you are calculating something. If you mess up the move order, you won't get desired results. Knight into f3. Simply exchange the pieces and go into the endgame with these five extra pawns. Maybe this or this. And then, okay, this is also fine. Simply exchange the queens after queen into d2 check. Ouch. Queen into d2 was easier. And she lost a piece. She blundered a piece, in fact. I was thinking the same way. She can think about creating some mating net around the king. King is in the corner square. Uh, that she should have captured the pawn. So that way she is putting more pressure on this rook. So some random move like knight to e4 and then king b2 mate follows. So there's one more way. King a2. Okay. Now Adya should feel relaxed because she is definitely not going to lose this game. Even if her time runs out, as we can see, white doesn't have minimum winning material. So even black runs out of time, the game will end in a draw. Let's see. Let's go to the lobby. Yes, that's the only game left. Uh, right now we have 40 players. Is there any upset in the first round? Let's see. Okay, Keshav joined the game late. Okay. Okay. So it looks like she got checkmated or she resigned. So second round is coming up. Welcome back. In the second round of d4-d5 thematic chess tournament organized by Gurukul Chess Academy. So let's check the games. Okay, on the top board we have Nihal playing against Omgada, then Adish playing against Rajas, then Kavya playing against Garvil. Then we have the extinguisher, that's Sai. Sai is playing against Ojas. Okay. Then we have Cute Dolphin, she's playing against Yash. And then Vedant Parab playing against Rushil. Yeah, Rushil should win this game with his extra material. Okay, let's go through the games. Let's check Om's game. Okay, Om is pawn up, and his position is plus. He's having these two pawns on the queen side. So from this part of the board, he can promote an outside passer. He can create an outside passer. Normally, it is said that play where you have pawn majority on the board. So as we can see in this part of the board, the pawn count is equal, 3 each. But on the other part of the board, it's 2-1. So white should play on queen side. But before he can do that, he has to cover up his weak pawns. So maybe he will have to activate the king first, like king d2 and king e3. And once king is getting hold of these weak pawns or weak squares, then he can think about pushing the pawn side. Now again, it's a pure pawn ending. Pure pawn ending is the easiest ending to win. So Om just has to create a passer from this side. It will be an outside passer. And meanwhile, black is busy in stopping the passer. The white king can mop up all these pawns one by one and he can create more passes from this side of the board. So this process will take a lot of time, but it's a simple process and definitely Om must be knowing about it. It's a good move by Nihal so that the king cannot enter. In the end game, you have to stop your opponent's king from entering your area. That way, you can hold your position in a better way. So black should try to get his king on this square. So maybe he can play something like this. Then from this square, he can keep an eye on this pawn. He can keep an eye on the other side of the board also. Let's check other games. Let's see what's happening over here. The position looks pretty messy. Material is equal. So Adish is giving a tough fight to Rajas. Let's see what's happening right now. Okay, he can get this pawn. It looks like Rajas is sacrificing a pawn. Is there any trap coming up, or are we missing anything? So it's like this: king into queen into h6, bishop g5, queen h3, and then we can play something like king g7 and rook h8. So that way, just to open up this file, Rajas is offering this pawn. Rajas is a pretty attacking player. He likes sacrificing piece every now and then. Okay, so maybe Adish is calculating whether he should accept the sacrifice or not. Let's go back in the lobby and check other games. Uh, let's check this game between Sai and Ujas. Ujas is 3 pawns up, and simply he wants to exchange the rooks so that he can enter into a pure pawn ending. And again, pure pawn ending is the easiest ending to win. Yeah, good thought by Sai. But instead of playing this, okay, it doesn't make any difference because black is having this connected passes on A and D file, and the white king is far away from the action. So it will be too much for this rook to stop this connected passers. Even the black rook is there. Rushil is having 3 extra pawns and he's about to promote a pawn. And that way, to stop that pawn promotion, black will have to sacrifice his rook. So it should be an easy win for Rushil. What do we have? Okay. So this is Sam, that is Samiksha playing against King of the Realms, that Abhiraj Warik. Abhiraj Warik is a new student. He's a promising chess player. Yeah, but it looks like he's getting checkmated on the back rank. Okay, let's move back. Okay, let's go in the lobby. 6 more games remaining in this second round, or five. Okay, Gayatri, Gulnava, Sonia, Anway. Uh, let's check this game between Gayatri and Gulnawaz. Gayatri has a better result than Gulnawaz. So she has played once against Gulnawaz and won that game. That must be in the uh, mind of Gulnawaz. Right now, the material is equal. So it's rook against knight and 2 pawns. So pawn into pawn, knight into d5. She should have captured with the pawn. The knight, sorry. The knight would be active. Keep your pieces active. It looks like a passer. It is a passer, but then it will be very difficult to save that pawn. So just now the pawn is lost. White will have to save the knight, and once this knight is moved away, this pawn will be gone. So That is why knight into d5 was a right move, which Gulnawaz missed. Let's check this game between Anvay and Sonia. So Anvay is white, Sonia is black, and Anvay is an exchange up. So Anvay is having rook for knight. Let's see. Okay, this doesn't look very promising. Instead of this, Anvay should have played something like RA E1, doubling the rooks, and then he could have attacked on the king side with F5, F4, F5. It looks like Anvay is just going to sit in a shell, and he will wait for his opponent to make a mistake, just like she had made this mistake and gave a free pawn. Okay, that pawn was also free. Queen into queen, king into queen, and simply capture the pawn, double the rooks, and that would be an easy win. Yes, Anway is not going to miss this. So there's again double attack coming up, check, and the a7 pawn is lost. So let's move back in the lobby. Is there any interesting position? Okay, let's check this position between Cute Dolphin and Yash. Okay, yeah, this is a very good move by Yash. So again, the same theme that do not allow your opponent's king to enter into your position. So that's what he did over here. I will simply capture the pawns and then start pushing the pawns ahead. And now Yash should win this game. Let's check this game. Yeah, Adish is in serious time trouble. He's playing on only few seconds. What is happening? Is there any mate? No. This is not a mate. Bishop is defending it pretty well. Okay. Surprisingly, even after position being this messy, Rajas is just pawn ahead. Okay. Good move, exchanging the queens. Once the queens are exchanged, then there won't be any checkmate happening. Queen into queen first. Even if you place knight into bishop check, the king would come up. Oh, the rook was there. Oh, I totally missed the rook. Yeah, simple. When you have extra material, just exchange the pieces, go into the end game, and win with your extra pawn or the passer. One push, simple. One push check, any king move, and then maybe he can play this. That is e4. So d3 check and e4. Okay. So the same thing is happening now, just with the odd move order. Yeah. So king must be active in the end game. This is too much for Adish to defend. Let's go back. Anything interesting? Okay, Sonia and Anway captured almost every pawn of Sonia. Just one pawn is remaining. He's having so many extra pawns. So you should simply start pushing one of the pawns. Okay, let's see. It looks like Gulnawaz captured a free rook But the problem is her knight is pinned, so she should play something like, yeah, g4, pawn into pawn, pawn into pawn, and then give this check. Get this king within the reach of the knight, and then there will be a discovered attack coming up, and the rook will be lost. Check, and I guess definitely white is getting the black rook, and she missed. She shouldn't have captured a pawn. She should have pushed the pawn ahead. There is a way. This check is very strong. She can give this check, and then the knight is saved. Yeah, okay. This position looks interesting, right? If white wants to win this game, white must keep one of the pawns. Because if the pawns and the rook gets exchanged, then white won't be able to win with his extra knight. A single knight is not a winning material, and it's a blunder. It's a check, and the rook is lost. But I hope Gulnawaz finds it. Yeah, good move. That's the only one game remaining. So as we can see, after 2 rounds, we have 9 players sharing the lead with 2 points each. Which Okay, let's see. Okay, these both the players are on 0 points, right? So they won't be on 2 points, and this should be an easy win. Now, definitely, Gulnawaz is not going to lose this game because Black has no winning material. Now she must be worrying about the stalemate. She shouldn't stalemate. White has to move the rook out. There is no other way to do that. Sorry, just move the rook out and focus on this pawn. Activate the king, push the pawn ahead, and it should be a simple thing to win the game. Yeah, king up, and then there would be this checkmate coming up, and she missed a mate again. It was a mate in one, and now this should be a mate, and she missed a mate again. It's a comedy of errors, as you can see. What is she doing? Okay, she knows this she made, but not this mate. Okay, no worries. All's well that ends well. So third round is going to get started in just few seconds. So we are in the third round of this GCA thematic chess tournament. Let's go through the games. So we have Siddhant Verlekar and Yash. Yash is white, Siddhant is black. Material is equal. Not. Yeah, it is equal. Okay. Okay. Again, Yash got one extra pawn, and he should get this pawn as well. It's too late for that. And now that equal looking position turned into a clear winning position for white. Now he should get the other pawn as well. He should have played this. The idea is to play h5, rook h6, and then there's a skewer coming up. Nevertheless, let's check other games. So we have Ojas playing against Om. Okay, it looks like. Let's see. This looks interesting, right? Ojas and Om they have played many times against each other, and right now the score is in Om's favor. Om has won 18 games, and Ojas has won only 7. But you never know. On his day, Ojas is very dangerous, just like in this current position. Uh, it looks like Om has sacrificed a rook or something, or maybe he must have blundered because Ojas has a clear extra rook, and here he should play something like this. He's giving up the rook. Okay, the pitches are not coordinated, and then again it's in Om's favor. He's a clear pawn up with White's king roaming around in the middle of the board. Plus, this passed pawn is over there, and these two white pieces they are totally out of the game. Om should win this game, and Om should make it 19. Let's go back. 6 games remaining. Let's see if we can find some interesting game. Okay, let's check this. This is Sakshi against Rushil. Sakshi is white, Rushil is black. Okay, Rushil has one extra rook. This pawn is also gone. Okay, he's not capturing the pawn. He's more interested in this pawn. Okay, no worries. But black should win this game with his extra material. The games are getting more quickly in this round. Okay, we are again back to this game. Gulnawaz and Dolphin. So Adya has one knight, but for that knight, Gulnawaz had 2 pawns. So as you can see, it's knight against 2 pawns. If there are only 2 pawns left against a knight, then 2 pawns are better. But there are few more pawns and few more pieces left in the game. At least one rook is there. So that way, you never know. Also, Gulnawaz is having this outside passer on a5, but I guess it looks like she hasn't realized that yet. So she should keep kicking this pawn, or she should keep moving this pawn ahead. Here, black is trying to give this double attack. Sorry, knight g4 check, and e3 pawn is gone. So that way, white should play something like this, activate the king, and at the same time stop this double attack. Both the players have enough time remaining on the clock, so they should play it easily. Okay, this is the only game left. So almost after the third round, we have one, two, three, four, 5 players sharing the lead with 3 out of 3 points. We have Rajas, Blazing Bullet, then we have Arjun Singh, then we have Om Gada, then we have Yash, and then finally Rushil. So these 5 players are leading the table with 3 points each. They are sharing the lead. So as this is the only game left, let's go through this game and let's see what happens. Gulnawaz is trying to find the way to use his remaining material or remaining firing power. Check king g7, and now she should start pushing the pawn. Once this pawn starts rolling, then it will make black think a lot, but it looks like it's not happening right now. check, and the pawn is lost. Or she can even also play rook a1, rook b2, and exchange this pawn. Yeah, now after this e3 pawn is gone, now even black has this passer in the middle of the board. As you know, outside passer is much more dangerous than center passer. Again, simple plan, move the rook to a8 and start pushing the pawn as soon as possible. That is the only way to save the game. King f7 and then rook will have to move again. Ouch. Rook behind the passer. Rook d6 and then try to kick the knight away so that white can capture this pawn for free. But right now she is losing this pawn. Here again, instead of moving the king, rook d6 would be a better move, because in this case, if rook into g2, then king f3 would drop a piece. It's a double attack on knight and rook. And if black would play knight into pawn, then rook into pawn. But Gulnavas missed all that. Endgame is the most difficult part of the chess game. If you compare it with opening and middle game, because to master the end game, you must know the end game concept. You cannot just think about improving your end game just by playing. So experience won't bring you end game knowledge. So experience has nothing to do with end game mastery. So you must learn end game concepts. That's the only way to master the end games. Just attack the rook, attack the king, knight with the king, sorry, and capture the pawn. Once white manages to capture this pawn as well, then white won't lose. Because even after both the rooks are exchanged, then black cannot win with just one knight. So she should simply capture the pawn over here. Not right now because the fork is coming up. So she should move the king up. Ouch. And finally, Gulna was blundered and Adya missed. Adya totally missed this fork. Now, as you can see, even white has this passed pawn. Go out, don't come here, or it's a mate, and the mate happens. Can she find? Rook e3 is a checkmate. Yes, Gulnawaz has created a mating net for herself. Okay, so fourth round will start right now. We are halfway through to this tournament. Welcome back. We are in the second half of the tournament. Fourth round is going on. Let's go through the games. So on the top board, we have Rushil and Inferno, that is Yash. Then we have the old rivals, Rajas and Om. What is the position? Position is equal. Okay, this will go on for a long time, so we can enjoy that game later on. Then we have Adish and Ojas Fene on the third board. Then Anvay and Sriram on the fourth. Then we have Mind Booster, that's Advait, he's playing against Garvil. And then we have Sai and Ruchita. Well, let's go through the games one by one. So we can start with this game. Anvay is white and Sriram is black. Okay, Sriram got two extra pawns. And he also has a knight on the rook on the seventh rank. Here, white should play something like this and then this. That is knight d3 and knight e5. activating the knight. Here also, instead of this move, he should have challenged the rook on this file. So that is why this move would be the better move. And rook into pawn, the pawn is lost. And even the knight is sitting on the bad position. So Anu has a lot of problems to deal with. Apart from the material loss, its pieces are also sitting on the passive squares. He's losing this, he's losing this. And then there comes g5, kicking the knight away. Yes, let's go back. 9 more games remaining. Let's check this game. Advait and Garvil. Garvil is white, Advait is black. So black has a lot of extra material. So you can say 5 extra points. And white's king is stuck in the middle of the board. Black has to make sure that his queen can get trapped. There are a lot of knights, 2 knights, and then it can be a you can say knight 4 coming up. Should move over here. Yeah, this into this. Black should be alert about these 2 knights. Yes, we can just move a little back. So here, queen c4, he should have played this. This is much better than playing queen into a2. This was much more stronger, getting the king inside c3. So here the mating net can be prepared, but he missed, and he played now king h8. Oh, what was that? Queen a1 check, and then queen into d4. He missed. He should have played queen a1 check, king up, maybe on c4 or b4, and then queen into d4 check. Check. King goes up, and then one more check. King has to go out, and the knight is lost. Let's see if he finds the move or not. Ouch. This is also fine. Again, the king is flushed out of this safety, and the knight will drop. Yeah, let's move back. Advait should win this game. Do we have anything interesting going on? Okay, let's see. Samiksha against Adhya. This is a different Adhya. So we have 2 Adhyats. Samiksha is playing white and Adhya is black, and Samiksha is pawn up. This looks like again an easy win because pure pawn ending, as we have already discussed. Pure pawn endings are the easiest endings to win. So what white has to do over here? Nothing much. Just get the king active and keep pushing the pawn. And one fine day, soon enough, pawns will reach the last rank. Get the king out first, or even this square looks a very nice square for king. so that white can push the pawn, pawn into pawn, pawn into pawn, and there will be two connected passes. And that was a straight away. It's a blunder. I don't know what Samiksha is calculating. One push. Oh, it doesn't work. Pawn push, pawn into pawn, pawn push, and king catches the pawn. Okay, so right now we just saw a couple of horrible moves from Samiksha. So that way, now this clearly one ending has turned into you can say an equal ending. Let's move back. Samiksha has missed a clear winning chance. Let's check this game between Adish and Ojas. Adish is in time trouble as usual. And it looks like Ojas has sacrificed a knight for two pawns. One pawn, not two pawn. So it doesn't look like he has sacrificed a pawn. It looks like Ojas must have lost his knight in some combination. It should be something like queen a3 and then this queen to b4, pressurizing the knight again. Yeah, but the problem with queen a3 is white can play this queen d3. I don't know what Ojas is planning. There is nothing happening over here. There is no back rank checkmate either. Even if this check is possible, the king will simply go to h7. So maybe Ojas is just trying to keep the position complicated so that Adish will have to think a lot and then he may lose on time. But a piece is a piece, right? Now here it looks like he has to play something like this. Queen b4, exchanging the queens. But again, I don't suggest exchanging the queens when you are down. You have less material. This work, it should work, right? e5. If he captures the pawn, the knight is gone. And after e5, if he moves the rook away, he can simply push the pawn. Now the connection between knight and the rook is broken, and we just missed that also. It looks like Ojas is out of touch. Let's go back. Um, okay. Let's check this game. Anything interesting? Or should we go to Rajas and Om's game directly? Material is equal. Black's rook is on the seventh rank, but there is no back rank checkmate happening. So Black King is fine, and even White rook is also uh, on an open file. Let's go to this game between. Just a minute, that game got over. Yeah, Om got a one. Okay, we need to discuss this game later on. I thought that game is going for a long duration. So Samiksha somehow managed to promote her queen, and now she should win. Let's check this game between Adish and Ojas. Okay, what is happening? Okay, check. The king comes out. Is there any other check coming up? Yeah, there is no. There isn't any check coming up, right? It was a mistake. He should have played this, keeping support of the pawn. And it's a mate. Queen g5. Yes, well played, Ojas. Only one game going on. That's between Yash and Rushil. Material is equal. Let's see what happens. As you know, rook and the pawn endgames are the most difficult endgames to handle. So even if you are pawn up, it's not sure if you can win the game. And even if you have less pawn, you can manage to draw the game if you have enough knowledge of the concepts. It's difficult to force a win in this game. Maybe black can simply play h5 and keep everything protected because there are no weaknesses as such. Both the pawns are in one line, so there is just one pawn island and one base pawn. Same we can say about the black's position. There is just one pawn island and one base pawn. We can simply play h5. Okay, so Yash is trying for this f6 break, but in this f6 break will make this pawn an isolated pawn. If white captures, this should end in a draw. Maybe pawn push, and they will sit for the rest of the time. Even if they capture, it doesn't make any difference. And Yash blundered a pawn. He should have played king f7 first. This and maybe this rook behind the passer. Yes, of course. It's difficult for black to hold this game, but he should be able to save this game because there is no entry for the king. He cannot move up. If he gives check, then king will move down, and again there's a problem with the pawn. He will have to defend the pawn, and when the rook is over here, he cannot push the pawn ahead, or else the rook will be gone. So I don't think white can make any progress in this position. If white attacks the rook will come up, and if the king comes goes up, then rook will go down. So they will play a little, and maybe either they will agree for a draw, or it will be a threefold repetition. So you can say perpetual check, and the game should end in a draw. Yes, the game ended in a draw. So after four rounds, we have two players sharing the lead, four on four, Omgad and Arjun Singh. So they must be playing in this fifth round. Welcome back. We are in the fifth round of this d4-d5 thematic chess tournament. Let's go through the games. So the leaders after fourth round, Om and Arjun, they are fighting it out. Om has got one extra piece and one extra pawn, so he should win this game without any hassle. Simply capture the rook and then activate the king, and it should be a simple win for Om. Definitely, Om is not going to miss this position. Okay, what else do we have? Mm, Blazing Bullet Rajesh and Yash, they are playing on the second board. Then we have Ojas and Rushil on the third. Then we have Ruchita and Nihal and Cute Dolphin. That Adya, she is playing against Sri Ram. And then finally we have Vedant Parab playing against Adish Dunde. Okay, let's go through the games. Let's check this game between Rajas and Yash. Yash is white, Rajas is black. Material is equal. It looks like probably they will share this point. They will agree for a draw. Queen e7 looks interesting. D6 is also fine. But after queen d6, king can come out and save the pawn. That is why queen e7 was good. So after queen e7, I guess queen c6 was forced, as queen had to guard both the weaknesses. Okay, so Rajas wants to play for a win, and this can be a serious mistake because, as you can see, there is no coordination between his pieces. Of course, only two pieces are left, but king is in front of the queen, so that's quite odd. And now he lost two pawns for nothing. There is no compensation whatsoever. He is about to lose the third one. So it looks like he should have settled for a draw. The position was equal. So perpetual check was coming up. Play this check. And again, this pawn is lost. It's a dead lost position. Dead last. Okay, Om won this game. Yeah, Om. Okay, let's this game between Ruchita and Nihal. Nihal is white, Uchita is black, and Nihal is having a lot of extra material. He has one extra piece and a pawn. Comparatively, slightly, black's pieces look more active, and black has this passed pawn. This is the only option Ruchita has to save this game, or even if he wants to win this game. On the other hand, even white has this passed pawn on the a file. This is an outside passer, so I guess white should start keep pushing the pawn. So it should be like a5, knight d5, or maybe he will put the rook first, and then he will push the pawn ahead. Let's go back in the lobby. Six games remaining. Let's check this game between Tanish and Suyog. Tanish is white, Suyog is black, and Tanish is having extra material, 3 points extra. But Tanish king is in a bad shape. Ah, it's a straight blunder. Hmm? Didn't capture it. This is what pressure does to you. Queen into h7 check is coming up. So black has to do something. Simple queen d2 should work. Yes. No more checks. Maybe, yeah, he can play this. The idea is rook is under attack, and at the same time, this pin is coming up. So queen e4 looks a very nice move. Ah, he missed. This was a better move. This was, I guess, this is the best move. The double attack on the hanging knight and pin, hanging rook, and the pin was coming up. Pin is still coming up, but then there is just a single threat white has to worry about. So he can simply play knight c2. That way, this knight will come into the game and start controlling few squares. You can even play something like queen g5, supporting the rook, moving the queen away from this pin, yes, and attacking this hanging pieces. Should go down. If he goes here, then there follows bishop d6, bishop e6, and in the pin the rook is lost. Yes, and black should recover some of his material. And the bad thing is that the rook will be lost with a check. Let's go back. Okay, let's check this game against Aryav and Anvay. Anvay is having one extra rook, so he should win this game without any problem. Let's check this game between Vedant and Adish. Material is equal. Adish is in time trouble as usual. It looks like he's spending a lot of time and he's not getting enough plans in return. So it looks like we have to work on that about how to make nice plans and how to make nice plans in a quicker time. When you have less time left, you cannot calculate more, and that way there are more chances that the player can make a mistake. This is a nice move. Black is threatening this pawn push double attack, and in the double attack he will lose the piece. Also, there is pressure over on the c file. The c4 pawn is pinned. Ouch! And he missed. Yes, of course. Let's move back. Anything? Look, they are still playing check, check, check. So queen into h7 check. Is that a perpetual? No, right? There is no perpetual coming up. check. Any king move and queen into bishop is a blunder because of bishop into rook check and the queen is lost. Instead, he should keep giving these checks. Let's move back. Okay, cute dolphin has just a king, and Shriram should win this game easily. Uh, let's see the game between Ruchita and Nihal. Yes, Ruchita is in time trouble. It's strange to see her in a time trouble because she is normally a blitz player, you can say. Okay, Nihal has lot of extra material. There is no way Ruchita is going to win this game in a long run, so she must try to checkmate the white king as quickly as possible. So maybe for that she can play something like g5, g4 or something. But again, it looks very difficult to break this pawn structure in front of the king. And in just two moves, the pawn should be promoted. So black has to worry about that also. And on top of that, the timer is in seconds now for Ruchita. Let's go back. Let's see if we can find any interesting position in the remaining games. Three games are remaining. It looks like Anwar is about to promote his second queen. And then in this game, again between Vedant and Adish, what do we have? Let's see. Oh, Vedant lost two pieces in no time. So just few moves back, the position was equal, and now then he lost a piece in a double attack, and now suddenly one more piece is gone, one more white piece is gone from the board. So right now we have the sole leader Om Gada with 5 on 5. Then there are two players on the second place, Yash and Rushil. They are sharing the second spot with 4.5 points. And then we have four other players jointly on the third place. Okay, the sixth and the last round will begin shortly. And we are in the last round of this d4-d5 thematic chess tournament organized by Gurukul Chess Academy. So let's view the games. Rushil has already won his game, and right now he's leading the tally with 5.5 points. Of course, the other toppers, Om and Yash, they are battling it out. So if Om wins the game, then he will win the tournament with 6 out of 6. So meanwhile, let's check the games. Do we have any new name? Okay. Uh, let's check this game. It's between Samiksha and Kavya. So Kavya is having one extra pawn, and also he has successfully entered on the in the castled position of White's king. So here Kavya miscalculated. There was pressure on g7, and he should have played something like this to save the g2 pawn. Okay, that wasn't possible. Otherwise, queen into pawn was happening. Okay. Suddenly, there are lots of threats coming from Samiksha, and it looks like Kavya is in trouble. Let's move back. What's happening on the top board? Home is pawn up. Surprisingly, Yash is having a better results against Om. So they have played many games against each other. And as I can see over here, Yash has won 34 games, whereas Om has won only 23 games. Though Om has extra pawn, his pieces are not very active, especially this rook and this bishop. But okay, Om solved his problem with the bishop as he played bishop a2, attacking this isolated pawn. So he is about to play, or he should play something like knight g5, pressurizing that pawn. Knight g5 is possible, even knight c5 is possible. It's a double attack on this b7 pawn and this e6 pawn. This is the last and crucial round. Both the players will take their time to find the correct move. So that game should go for a long time. Let's check this game between Adya and Nihal. Adya is white, Nihal is black, and Nihal is having one extra point. In fact, he is having a knight for two pawns. So I'm not sure whether Adya blundered a knight or whether she sacrificed a knight. Let's go through the game and see. Okay, so far so good. Okay, here she lost a pawn. Okay, okay, and the knight got trapped actually. Okay, okay. So that now we arrived this at this position. So Adya got a free pawn, and then she got over attacking. She was in over attacking mode, over aggressive, and in that over aggression, she lost a piece. So she had to sacrifice that knight for one more pawn, and that way she got two pawns for that knight. So let's check this game between Sakshi and Adya. So Sakshi is white, Adya is black. Material is equal. It's rook against bishop and two pawns. Ouch, that's painful. It's a discovered attack, and at the same time, the rook is under attack. So it looks like Adya is going to lose some material. She will have to play something like this, and then bishop into rook, and the exchange is gone. She can play queen b7. She can play queen a6, but in any case, the rook will be gone, or rook will be gone for a bishop. Okay, we are back in the lobby. Okay, let's check this game. This game is between Liron and Chaitali. Liron is white, Chaitali is black, and Chaitali should win this game. So it's like simply give check, kick the king away, capture the pawn first, and then one queen checkmate. But Chaital is playing chess after a long break, I guess. And White is offering a draw. No wonder. Sriram also won his game, and now he's on five. Check this. Let's see this game between Anvay and Ojas. Anvay is white, Ojas is black. Ojas has one extra pawn, but there's a deadly threat against the king. It looks very risky. The black king is flushed out of his comfort zone. Oh, and he missed the trick. He should have played knight into e6. Knight into e6 would be more deadly. And Anway missed the trick. And then this knight would go over here and give a double attack. That's what happens when you are having commanding position and you are not taking your time. When you have a lot of pieces lined up around your opponent's king, you should calculate slowly, accurately. He got a pawn, but that was much more better because as you can see, the knight is sitting on h3, doing absolutely nothing. And the pawn is lost. King move, and there won't be any rook into pawn because the knight will be under attack. He will be losing this pawn also. This is what happens when you don't make the best of the opportunities you got. Let's move back. Anything interesting? We have checked this game between Kavya and Samiksha, and oh, it looks like Samiksha blundered again. Let's see what happened actually. Some time back, I guess she was winning, right? With that double attack. And here, White was clearly winning. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Okay, this is what happens here. She lost the queen. Okay, let's move back. Sorry. Let's focus on this very important game between Home and Yesh. Okay, Home got a free knight for a pawn, so Home should win this game. This is also coming up. Okay, you got a free rook over there. So I totally missed that rook in the corner. Check. King is pushed here and then bishop into pawn. Okay, sorry, bishop into pawn is not possible because then rook check and the double attack, the bishop will be gone. Mm, let's see. Is there any threats coming up? There are two checks coming up right now. Rook e4 check and knight g3 check. But I don't think apart from these checks, anything serious is happening. And this knight g3 check looks more interesting because these two dark squares are already gone because of the bishop. Then white will be knight will be attacking these two white squares. Okay, should have kept his king on light square because white has this dark square or black has this dark square bishop. So normally avoid keeping your valuable pieces on the same color of opponent's bishop. So I guess this was a better move. But then this check was coming up, but it's just a check, right? Then we can go down to d2. Let's move back. Okay, this is very interesting. Anway is playing very nicely. Let's hope he keeps the good performance going on. Move the rook away from the king. It's not it's not a good position to have because of this rook, this knight is stuck in the corner. Okay, okay. So maybe you can play something like knight c6 and a rook b3. After rook b3, this pawn can be captured for free. Not that easily because of course he will save the pawn with king d2, and he missed. He should have played king d2, and he should lose this pawn as well. Capturing this is simple, right? Even if he gives check, king can come back and attack the knight. This is a clear win for black. Two connected passers is too much. Okay, so Nihal won this game. So only two games are remaining. Even Ojas should win this game pretty easily. So that means this is the only interesting game left. Let's see what is happening over here. Oh, that was sad. Yeah, I was thinking about this pawn, but then this fork is too much. Okay, so Yash resigned, and as we can see, Om is on 6 points. Rushil is on 5.5, and Nihal and Shriram they are sharing the third place. Not exactly sharing the third place, both they are both on 5 points, but in the tiebreak, Nihal is slightly ahead. So Nihal is third, Shriram is fourth, and Ojas should join them. Ojas is on how many points? Okay, Ojas is on 3 points. Okay. So the tournament got over here. So we checked all the 6 games. We checked many interesting positions and exciting games. I hope you enjoyed this tournament, this d4-d5 thematic tournament. We'll be bringing more such tournaments to you. So stay tuned. Thank you very much, everyone.